Do You Mog by K Shami. Let's see if we agree or disagree with this.
This chart is going to help you understand how you compare to other guys. By plotting your face and your height, you can see what tier you sit at, being that either a normie, high tier normie, Chad light, or Chad.
Whoa, okay. Interesting to go off the rip here. So he seems to be going with height and face. I think this is pretty critical for most moggers. Yeah, the easier it is, the taller you are. I think that makes sense. I mean, if you take a look at a bunch of the people on the internet that people are calling like moggers and stuff, the majority of them are like probably staying in this range, like the 6 foot to 6'5" range. Makes sense. The same sort of mogging edits that you do see online, the looksmaxxing edits, or even the aura farming edits, are all people like in this range. Face and height seems pretty accurate. The tiers seem normal. I didn't even know that HTN was a tier, but you know, let's get into it.
You're probably wondering, what's the point of this? It seems so redundant, you know, why would you compare yourself to other people? But by doing this, you're going to get a better understanding of how desirable you are in this market.
Whoa, okay.
If you want to quickly get down to your facial rating or where you kind of sit at, look at this photo and try to be unbiased.
All right, camera cut out. Let's get back to it. This is actually some crazy work having this list right here. Imagine like you're just minding your own business and you just click on this video and you just find your face on this section of the tier list. Like that's actually some crazy work. Like I would, bro, holy moly. He's going in deep with this. Oh my goodness. Okay. So wow. All right, but first of all, I wouldn't put Ronaldo at 7. That's just like no glaze. I just wouldn't put Ronaldo at 7, but I'd argue that this is especially trying to rate this objectively. Like I find it like the best way to find out where if you're a mogger is to actually just like go on the internet, bro, because honestly, I just feel as though people who are moggers it just kind of like comes out through edits. Like if you're a streamer and people are just making mogging edits of you and like aura edits of you, then you know you're on this side. And if you're a streamer and people don't do that, then it's very hard to rationalize being on this side. But still though, I just find it crazy work if like you're just minding your own business and you're on this side of the tier list. But we move.
See where you fit in and choose a number and stick to that. Once you've got your number, you can then plot yourself on here. So
Okay.
for instance, if you're 5'9", which is the cutoff right here, being that of manhood height, and you have a 5 out of 10 face card, you're going to be considered a normie. Whereas if you're 5'9" and you have a 6 out of 10 face card, you're then a high tier normie.
High tier normie.
Forth. The difference between each tier is a deviation of
Okay.
just 1 unit.
Bro's
It's
locked
just a
in.
followed pattern, and it makes a lot of sense if you just look here. Anything below this tier, the normie tier, is going to be considered over.
Over some crazy work. Over? Oh, heck nah. So if you're like below 5'9", it's over for you? Nah, that's actually low-key crazy, but he has a point. There's a bit of truth in this. Bro, I just generally see like if you just like, let's just keep it a stack. In the real world, if you're shorter, there's like way less leeway just in general, like for all the mogging and the aura maxing. Like when you see the vast majority of the edits, these people are like over here. And I think that just speaks to the way the internet is. Like it's sometimes if you like measure your value based off like the internet stuff, like it can make it tough because you never ever see like mogging edits of people who are below like 6 feet the majority of the time, which does make it a lot harder to kind of rationalize yourself being higher on this tier list. But over though, I don't know if it's over. Like, I don't know if it's over.
Right, in reality, you're just going to be far less desired. If you haven't noticed, everything goes downhill from 5'8" and below.
Bro.
So to be considered a normie now, you require a 6 out of 10 face at 5'8", and then at 5'6", a 7 out of 10 face.
Oh my
at 5'4",
goodness.
you have to have a 9 out of 10 face just to be a normie. Not
Oh
a
my
high tier
goodness.
Normie, not a chat,
Wait,
just a normie.
let me see the normie
Face,
definition.
Just to be a normie.
Your average guy lacks appeal or aesthetics. Will never be first choice. Will not be able to slay in clubs. Will below unless he has stats or money. Yo, oh my goodness. Wow.
Not a
Okay.
high tier normie, not a chat, just a normie. Another trend and pattern we see is height 6'2" to 6'4", they're practically equivalent. The difference between the
Yo.
heights of 6'2 and 6'4 is practically non-existent in regards to desirability. You can see that the same face card gets you the same tier. Right here and here.
Yo.
At 5'10 and 5'11, your height is practically negligible. It's invisible.
Negligible.
No one thinks twice about it. It's just your face card that actually plays the biggest role in your SMV.
What the heck is SMV? Yo, I didn't know it went this deep. Okay, I didn't know it went this deep. But just looking at this 5'10 and 5'11, I can never usually tell the difference between someone who's 5'10 and 5'11. But if you ever see those memes that are like 5'11 to 6 feet, bro, people be seeing 5'11 as if you're like super short or like there's like it's over. Whereas when you're 6 feet, it's crazy. Now, I'm not gonna lie, you guys might not believe me, but I am above 6 feet, okay? I didn't even feel the difference between 5'11 and 6 feet, honestly. I don't think it's that much of a deal. But of course, if you've actually seen the statistics of this, the majority of people actually round upwards when it comes to the height. If you've seen the graph, so if you look at height, it's actually distributed as a normal bell curve, right? So it's like that. But when you see it on like dating sites, for example, the actual bell curve of what people are saying that their height is it goes all the way up to like 5'9", 5'10", and then there's like a straight line to like 6 feet. So the majority of people round up anyways. In terms of mogging, yeah, I mean, I guess 6 feet on paper seems 10 times bigger than 5'11", but I feel like that's just society in general. But yeah.
In case you don't know what SMV is, it's market value, and it's comprised mainly of your face and your height.
Okay.
For example, in the case of Lacey and Marlon,
Nah, you're going Lacey and Marlon? No.
Lacey would have to gain 2 inches going from 5'6" to 5'8", and if we plot that, he would need a 9 out of 10 face card to be considered Chad. Having a 9 out of 10 face card alone is practically impossible. And if we just look at where Marlon sits, we plot him from 6'5" all the way up with a face card of 7, it's probably even higher. By looking at this chart and comparing Lacey with Marlon, he gets mogged. As I mentioned,
he gets mogged.
Is a mog. This is a mog, this is a mog. And to note, there's a huge bonus that occurs at 6 foot. You can see a divot that occurs.
Yeah, just what I mentioned earlier, that I don't know what it is. The difference between 5'11 and 6 feet has been completely, absolutely just hyped up in society. Let's just keep it a bean.
Here, at 5'11, you just need a 5 out of 10 face to be considered a normie, whereas at 6 foot, you can have a huge phalo in your face, be a 4 out of 5 on the scale of 10, and still be a normie. So that's a cool bonus that kicks in right here. There's an interesting thing that happens when you reach the height of 6'2". Your height taps out. It's no longer gonna improve things for you if you get taller. Actually, till the height of 6'4", things start to go south. So you can see that 6'5 to 6'7", the face card requirements increase.
Bro, okay. So height 6'1 to 6'4" has no meaning when it comes to mogging. Or 6'2 to 6'4". Yeah, he's low-key cooking. He is low-key cooking here. I feel as though in terms of mogging, people don't really care. The moment they hear 6, dialed out past that point.
That's because of 2 things. You're gonna be a whole lot more intimidating and proportions can get whack. Also, the height difference can cause issues if the girl's a whole lot more shorter, etc. It's only a slight deviation that occurs. You can see it only decreases by a little bit. You can see how a 6'7" guy who's a normie, who we plotted right here, would be equivalent to that of a 6 foot guy who's also a normie.
Whoa. Okay. Ooh, is he cooking there? A 6'7" individual with 4 out of 10 face card, he claims, is the same as a 6'1" individual with a 4 out of 10 face card. I disagree. I'd say a 6'7" would be valued a little bit higher than that, just because like you're 6'7", you're literally a hooper at that point. But proportions, definitely when it comes to moggery, I'd say definitely has a factor that plays in the majority of mogging edits, unless you're literally a hooper and you're on this side of the chart, then I guess it's kind of more disproportionate, and that's kind of stuff that's outside the scope of this video. Then I'd say it's higher. If you're not a hooper and you're 6'7", then I guess. But then again, if we're going off the general trend of mogging edits, you do see it's people who are between the heights of like 6'1" and 6'4" tops, and like they're like up here.
It's just how it is. Statistically speaking, that's the sweet spot. Heights 6 foot to 6'2". So how important is this difference that we're seeing in each tier? It's important enough to implicate and to affect how people treat you in real life. Online dating, profile swipes, profile checks, swipes, etc., that all changes with just this, because on dating apps, they're not really looking for your personality, they're just looking at your face and your height. There would have to be an increment difference of 1 to be mogged. And if you're mogged, no matter how much status or money you have, they win that first impression game. If there's one thing we can take away from all of this, it's that no matter how tall you are, it can't compensate for a low facial score. So face trumps height, but height can break you if you're too below average. This chart also confirms the 5'11" syndrome, which is essentially...
Yeah, that's what I was saying, 5'11" and 6 feet. Such massive and huge differences. It's crazy.
Actually, the difference between that of 5'11" to 6 foot, there's a psychological hit that occurs once you reach 6 foot. People will actually start to notice that you're tall, and that plays a role in your SMV and how you perform in every tier. So that's that. If you guys enjoyed the...
Okay, I will say, people can't really tell the difference between 5'10" and 6 feet. I'd argue that a lot of people, literally after like 5'10", people can't tell the difference. Like majority of guys who are 5'10" will look 6 feet in shoes, which is like, you can't even tell the difference between that. So there is a lot of moggability in that, but I think that generally he was cooking with a lot of this. The taller you are, the more likely you are to be considered like a quote unquote aura farmer, with the cap at like 6'4", 6'5". But yeah, I think he's more accurate on that. Although the part I majorly disagree with is like if you're 5'8" and like below, it's technically over for you. I don't think that's true. Like I think people assign too much value to height when in the real world it doesn't matter all that much. Okay, it does matter, but it's not like some crazy end all be all value that determines everything, you know. But I do feel like it has some impact to how seriously people take you, how much people consider you like a mogger, whether or not you're gonna appear in all these like mogging edits or aura maxing edits. I think that's definitely gonna be a factor that plays into that. But let's see what he has to say in the ending of this video.
The video, let me know down below in the comments. This has been the Mog chart. Thank you so much for watching. More to come. I'm gonna teach you guys how to actually go from, you know, one tier to the other, how you can ascend despite your height, and do the best that you can with what you're working with in your genetics. I'm going to try to do daily uploads, so please subscribe.
Okay, so it seems like he's done. He did say that the difference between one is like a mog. And on the internet, I would agree. I think most of the time you'll never really see like a whole mog of one tier. Usually they'll compare like a big tier mogger or like some model or something to someone who's just like your average looking guy, and they'll be like, oh, mogged. But essentially what I take away from this video is like, don't stress about your looks being everything. It's not really like, don't over prioritize and put too much value in your looks. I mean, would I say this graph does have some applicability to real life? Yes, I would say it definitely does kind of show how you will be treated just based off first impressions where you're on this table. But I think face is the initial, you know, face and height. Like this graph, maybe when someone first sees you, applies kind of the most. And then when people kind of get to know you, when people think you're cool, you know, your probability to get an edit, like you don't have to be some insane mogger to like show up in like some of these mogging edits. Sometimes you just gotta be like a chill, entertaining, likable streamer, and someone will be like, yo, this guy mogs. And then you boom, okay, boom, the said streamer gets an edit. Some of the examples were brutal. Like I'm sorry, maybe it's just my beliefs personally, but putting people at a scale from 2 to 9 or whatever it was, that's low-key some crazy work. Like I feel like with a lot of these facial rankings, that's stuff that you don't say in public. Like yeah, you keep that up there, okay. That's just me personally, but yeah, you know, but very interesting and very in-depth. Good video from K Shami. You guys go subscribe if you're interested in stuff like this, the Mog chart. But yeah, I think good video, and stick around if you think we should do more reacts. And yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and see ya.